Jeff hit us up. He said, what do you think will be the most underrated offensive units that we will be surprised by for the 2024 season? Jeff, I got 5 of them. North Carolina State's the first one. North Carolina State, most anonymous college football program in major Power 4, which is its own side note. I talked about that the other week, but could be the most underrated offense in college football this year. They're a defensive team. You think NC State, you think defense. That's been their identity. Maybe not this year. Grayson McCall transferred there from Coastal Carolina, where it felt like he spent the last decade of his career. He was a 20 touchdown, 3 interception or better quarterback each of the last 3 seasons. So very consistent. You know what you're getting there. Kevin Concepcion is a slot receiver that also runs the ball a fair amount for them. He had 1,000 combined yards last year and 10 touchdowns. He's still there. They're under a second-year offensive coordinator that I think they're ready to do some things under. They got a good offensive line. They added a 5.4 yard per carry tailback out of the portal. They got a tight end that was 3rd in the country in receptions last year. NC State, they've always played good defense there. Defense, maybe not quite to that degree this year. Maybe it's offense that lights it up for NC State. So I've got them. Go down the road a little ways to Knoxville. This should not be the case. I shouldn't have to mention Tennessee here, but our friends over at EA failed to put them as a top 25 offense. And so, man, if we're living in a world where folks are telling me Tennessee's not a top 25 offense, then pop that paper. Tennessee's an underrated offense. They were the number 1 offense in the country 2 seasons ago. And they've added Nico Iamaleava, who I think will be a better quarterback in time than Hendon Hooker was. And that's not to discount the many accomplishments of Hendon Hooker, but Brew McCoy's still there. Squirrel White's still there. Dante Thornton's still there. They added Chris Brazel from Tulane. Huge addition. Big-time addition. They want to keep it quiet, so I'm not saying his name loud. But Chris Brazel the second, 6'5", about 200 pounds out of Tulane. Love him. 3 offensive linemen returned, plus they brought in Hurd, the 3rd tackle there at LSU. Going to be a really good offense that will improve week over week this year in Knoxville. And I don't know why it is that people are going to end up being surprised by this. You shouldn't be. Don't ever be surprised that Josh Heupel teams do things offensively. But some of you will be. And I just want this as proof that we did, in fact, try and tell you so. Stillwater, Oklahoma. You're up next. Oklahoma State, all 5 offensive linemen returning. They're all redshirt seniors. They are fully grown men who probably have wives, multiple children, sensible mortgages, and yet they are playing college football still. We're approaching 200 combined starts just on the offensive line for Oklahoma State. Pretty insane. And then I've got the nation's leading rusher in Ollie Gordon returning behind them. But it's not just a bulldozer of a run outfit because they've got Brennan Presley at the slot. They've got Rashad Owens. That's their top 2 receivers returning. Alan Bowman, last year at quarterback, 15 touchdowns. That's okay. 14 interceptions was not. So if I protect him and give him time, and I got a solid, dependable run game, really good run game, and I got 2 receivers that I'm very familiar with, can I just keep the touchdowns but cut down on the turnovers? So I have inside sources that tell me they worked on not turning the ball over in spring in Stillwater. Don't tell anyone that. But that's what I heard, at least. So I think Oklahoma State's underrated. I think Penn State's underrated. It's not just a Jesse special here. It kind of is, but I would not allow this in the show if I didn't believe it. It's an easy team to peg. Like we've known what Penn State is. Really good defense, good offense against the lesser teams, shut down against the better teams. That was what they were last year. I was at both of the shutdown games, so I should know. Andy Kotelnicki coming there from Kansas as the offensive coordinator is a very, very big move. In college football, assistant coaching hires, that's a very big move because they've got one of the best 1-2 combos at running back in the country. I have not sold an ounce of my Drew Aller stock, and I take heat for it every day. You guys have been using the poop emoji, talking about Drew Aller, and you should not be doing that because, number one, don't trash talk college kids on the internet. But number 2, Drew Aller's very good, guys. You've seen 1 year of him. Still got a chance to be very good. Tyler Warren's a top 10 tight end, I think. They got good talent at quarterback. He didn't turn the ball over a lot even last year. They just couldn't move the ball down the field. Well, they've got enough at wide receiver, and they certainly have enough raw talent at quarterback that if that offensive coordinator hired just takes root a little bit quicker than anticipated, I think they can scheme some explosivity. So some of the players were there last year. Just couldn't get it done with Yurcich. So now, Kotelnicki is the guy. It's his term. And I like to take a stop in Lexington, Kentucky this time of year because it's one of the most experienced offenses in America. And we've added Brock Vandagriff at quarterback, the transfer from Georgia. Dane Key, Davion Brown, top 2 wide receivers return here. The offensive line returns 4 starters with 15-plus starts. They're all upperclassmen on the offensive line. They did good in the portal, too, at wide receiver. I forgot to mention that. They've got a good 1-2 at running back. So everything I would need to believe in Mark Stoops and his offense up there, they've got. Every time I mention Kentucky, someone says, well, they're still going to be the same old Kentucky. Like, that's a bad thing. Kentucky has not been a bad program. I don't know why people say that.